She opposes deport. I don't think she knew what the hell she was saying, you want to know. I actually saw it. I said, I think she must have misunderstood. She'll say, I didn't understand the question. She does. She's a low IQ individual, I'm telling you. I'm good at this stuff. She's a low IQ person.
Donald Trump is still clearly very upset from VP Harris' town hall last night on CNN. He has his little feelings, his little fifes all hurt. And when that happens, of course, we know Donald Trump is bound to lash out. And that is exactly what he did at his Arizona speech today. Donald Trump was angry with VP Harris. Donald Trump was angry with President Obama. And Donald Trump was angry with those in the crowd who he was threatening and attacking, lashing out really at everyone because the grievance has taken him over, and as he becomes more extreme, he becomes more deranged and he becomes more out of it. And that is exactly what we saw in that speech today, and we are going to get into all of that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you enjoy our channel and you want to be a part of it, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really means the world to me. Now let's get into some of this really angry speech from Trump.
Right, and we're a dumping ground. We're like a garbage can for the world. That's what's happened. That's what's happened to her. We're like a garbage can. You know, it's the first time I've ever said that. And every time I come up and talk about what they've done to our country, I get angrier and angrier. First time I've ever said garbage can, but you know what? It's a very accurate description.
This isn't talked about nearly enough, how Republicans want to pretend that they're always waving the flag so patriotic, but Democrats don't like America. Democrat RS aren't calling America garbage. A garbage can for the world. And can we also comment on the fact how Donald Trump thinks it's an accomplishment for him to come up with that line? He said, oh, I just thought of this now about 3 times. He's really proud of himself at this point whenever he can get a sentence off, or sometimes when he can get a word out, considering how we've seen other speeches go. But no, it's not impressive, and it certainly isn't patriotic. It's just a ridiculous thing for you to say, just like this hypocritical statement from Trump right here.
Did you see last night? He blew it. He said, lock him up. He said lock him up last night. He's not allowed to say that. He's such a stupid guy. Such a stupid fool.
President Biden did misspeak the other day when he said lock Donald Trump up, and afterwards he said he meant politically that we have to beat him at the ballot box. But for Donald Trump, of all people, to take such great offense from that comment, for Donald Trump to say he's not allowed to say that in reference to President Biden, does he think that means Trump is allowed to say that he's the only one who's allowed to attack his political enemies? He's the only one who's allowed to threaten retribution and jailing his political opponents. It's only okay if he does it just so strange and really kind of getting into his psyche there that he thinks whatever he does, of course, is okay. But if anyone else does anything similar, it's a huge problem. And speaking of problems, Donald Trump wanted to go after VP Harris' record and say that she destroyed San Francisco, but as he always does, when he tries to make that attack, it backfired pretty badly right here.
Oh, and by the way, she also destroyed San Francisco, one of the greatest cities in the world, 15, 16 years ago.
We know that Trump is not the smartest guy, and considering his comments about Hitler's generals being loyal to him, he doesn't have a great understanding of history, and clearly not in this example, because he always says that San Francisco was so great. 15 years ago, he always says that, and no one's corrected him on it, in his staff clearly, because he continues to repeat it. Donald, 15 years ago, San Francisco had Mayor Gavin Nome and District Attorney Harris. So yeah, they did a pretty bang-up job. Thank you for the endorsement of VP Harris. We love to see you finally acknowledge her success, which is the opposite of what he was trying to do in this clip right here.
She opposes deport. I don't think she knew what the hell she was saying, you want to know. I actually saw it. I said, I think she must have misunderstood. She'll say, I didn't understand the question. She does. She's a low IQ individual, I'm telling you. I'm good at this stuff. She's a low IQ person.
It is all hypocrisy. It is all projection. It is all anger. He continues to do the low IQ bit all the time. He knows that VP Harris is outsmarting him at every turn, that VP Harris is baiting him into these attacks that are off-putting to voters. They don't like these personal attacks that Donald Trump lands. And of course, they don't like any of the attacks that he makes at his rallies, especially when he starts going after the crowd, which is what he did, attacking journalists in the back of the crowd in front of his very angry and often violent supporters. This clip right here.
Just bad people. And until we get a fair and free press in this country, they're just bad people. I mean, look how easy. Here you have, all they have to do is just go, 1 inch this way and 1 inch this way, and you got it. They don't want to do that. They're the enemy of the people. They are. They're the enemy of the, I've been asked not to say it. I don't want to say it. They're the enemy of the people. And someday they're not going to be the enemy of the people, I hope.
Saying that journalists, as Donald Trump always does, are the enemy of the people who he hopes one day won't be very ominously threatening them in front of a crowd of MAGA Republicans who we know aren't afraid to rough things up with journalists. We've seen it before at Trump rallies. That is a scary threat. That's what Donald Trump always wants to be doing. He wants to be intimidating with fear and violence, and we continue to see that in the support that it has amongst MAGA and this clip right here.
And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer.
Of course, they're cheering for the death penalty. Of course, they're cheering for violence. Of course, they're cheering for Donald Trump's fear-mongering. It's gross to see at this point how invested MAGA is in their anger and their hate and this one specific lie of Donald Trump's pushing misinformation and conspiracies about migrants all over the country, especially in Aurora, Colorado, in Springfield, Ohio. And it's this lie that he continues to post that we see in his clip, in this clip right here.
The United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. We're not going to have this. November 5th, 2024 will be called Liberation Day in America. We're going to be liberated.
When Donald Trump says he wants a day of liberation, he is talking about his mass deportation plan, which for some reason journalists don't like to ask him about, because not only is it incredibly immoral, it would be devastating to the economy, but Donald, how are you going to support people? What's your plan? But of course, Donald Trump doesn't just want to do this to people who are in this country by illegal means. He also wants to do it to legal immigrants like those in Springfield, Ohio. Again, immoral, in an absolutely devastating plan that would wreck our economy. But of course, Donald Trump doesn't care about that. He just wants to complain. He just wants to ramble when he does. In fact, show up, because it doesn't happen a lot. This is what VP Harris called him out for right here.
Well, let me start by saying I'm really very proud to announce that we've had some endorsements this morning as we've been rolling out endorsements, but two leaders in the Republican Party, the mayor of Waukesha, and then, of course, former Representative Fred Upton. And this continues to be, I think, evidence of the fact that people who have been leaders in our country, regardless of their political party, understand what's at stake. And they are weighing in courageously, in many cases, in support of what we need to have, which is a President of the United States who understands the obligation to uphold the Constitution of the United States and our democracy. As for last night, yet again, Trump not showing up. refused to be a part of a CNN debate. And clearly his staff has been saying he's exhausted, and the sad part about that is he's trying to be president of the United States, probably the toughest job in the world, and he's exhausted. I said last night what I mean, which is the American people are being presented with a very serious decision. And it includes what we must understand will happen starting on January 20th in this choice. Either you have the choice of a Donald Trump who will sit in the Oval Office, stewing, plotting revenge, retribution, writing out his enemies list, or what I will be doing, which is responding to folks like the folks last night with a to-do list, understanding the need to work on lifting up the American people, whether it be through the issue of grocery prices and bringing them down, or investing in our economy, investing in our small businesses, investing in our families.
The man is tired. The man is out of it. He's losing steam. VP Harris is picking it up, and picking it up in the form of Republican voters as well, which is what Jessica Tarlow was talking about on Fox. Her house didn't like it in this club right here.
As far as Kamala's finishing message, I think she has two audiences for it, and you're seeing these quite split. So she has the protecting democracy message, which she has to do to get those Republicans and right-leaning independents who don't like Donald Trump and are considering voting for her. And she did a lot of that in the town hall last night, was talking about that. That's where the fascism conversation comes in, talking about what Mark Milley said, what John Kelly said. 40 of 44 cabinet secretaries that work for Donald Trump aren't backing him. And there were a number of big endorsements just out today. The Republican mayor of Waukesha, which is a GOP stronghold, 40-year GOP state senator, also from Wisconsin, and former GOP Congressman Fred Upton, coming out and saying, I've never voted for a Democrat in my life, but this is what we have to do now. And then the other closing message is for the rank and file Democrats, for people more like me. And that's going to be about reproductive rights, cost of living, talking about that Medicare proposal to expand coverage for people at home, aging people, protecting health care, building housing, et cetera.
Vice President Harris has a closing message of unity, bringing the country together, turning the page on Donald Trump. And isn't that something that we can all get behind? I certainly think. So I'm a little fed up with the past decade of Donald Trump, the increased violent rhetoric, the extremism that never stops. Let's end it to Mon. People contrast couldn't be clear. Let's move forward. Let's talk about it. And we're going to every single day on the show. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you're stuck around to the end, you drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.